So here in the notes, we actually list down what you normally do, in what you normally need to include, especially this section of the notes. This you normally need to include this in terms in your cost benefit analysis. And the cost effectiveness analysis is those that you don't have to value. I mean that you probably cannot value it in terms of monetary value. So you need to have both of them, and both is about value, it's about cost, it's about benefit. So value of the project is measurable by the cost and the benefit. If your benefit is a lot higher than the cost, then of course the value of the project is a lot higher compared to the cost that is high and the benefit that is not so great, for example. So we need to understand, we need to measure apple with apple, meaning that if we are measuring cost and benefit, then it has to be value that we are measuring. So value is our orange or our apple. So we need to have the same unit to measure all our projects alternative or our product alternative or components alternative when we are measuring our cost and benefit. So, and it's about the value is the project attribute that is actually how optimized, how good it is in fulfilling the project needs, you see. And the benefit, of course, is those that it can be from, like I said, from various directions. It can even, like for example, tourism. Certain project may bring up tourism, but how do you measure? You can measure tourism in terms of dollars and cents and how much money that is being spent, from people coming in to visit the country or visit the place or visit that rural area where you built the road, you see. But how do you measure culture? How do you measure lifestyles? You can't do that. So you are actually introducing your Malaysian culture or your Iban culture or your Dayak culture to the people, who are visiting during during the time, during the tourism stage, the benefit that brings to tourism. So those cultural exchange and cultural understanding of people, these are all elevation of lifestyles of the people in the village, is also an elevation of their knowledge exchange, of knowledge with different people. It's their growth, so you cannot really measure that in terms of dollars and cents. So again, cost is also the same. There are some attributes that are really very easily measurable in dollars and cents, like maintenance cost, like the cost of not doing it and all that. But what about losing lifestyles, losing certain plants, animals, flora, fauna that is affected by the projects, you see? So we need to, or reducing air quality, those are measurable in other units. For example, pollution is actually measurable in other units. So these are the losses that we will have if we maybe bring in that project. So we need to look at that. So yeah, so when we do studies, one will be more quantitative, whereby you can directly calculate the value. But the other sense is you need to do it more in a more descriptive manner or in other calculations that will actually put in attach a value to a project. But at the end of the day, it's about fulfilling the needs of the client or fulfilling the needs of the people. See, people, the nation, the end users who actually need that particular project to be in place, right? So I think these are the main thing that we are talking about when it comes to cost benefit. Of course, you can do very monetary kind of economic analysis, like net present value, like CPR, like profitability index, like payback period. And so those are, some of these are actually more financial study, but some of these are very economic studies. I will try to request Dr. Lee to at least give you something on some of the formulas and all that for the calculation. If she can't do it in class, maybe she can prepare some form of recording for you guys. I will request her to do that. I will try to request her to do it. Okay? Maybe for an hour or something like that. So we'll see how she goes. But when she comes in this on the week 4, she'll be covering something of this and also resources management. So it's like we will finish our scope management with this set of recording. This is a part 2. We'll only be splitting up into two parts of this scope management, because we want to leave more hours and time to other topics that is also very important to project management. Okay, so the next thing is feasibility studies. So some people call whatever that we are studying just now is feasibility studies, but strictly speaking, it is not. You see, strictly speaking, those are cost-benefit analysis. But some places or some people may call feasibility studies in terms of whatever that we have spoken about just now. But I call it economic feasibility, but whereby feasibility studies not only cover economic feasibility studies, but we are actually covering also the whether the project is allowed to be implemented, whether you do have enough resources to implement it, and also do you have is the condition surrounding the project feasible to let it be executed, let it continue, for example. There's many areas whereby we, in terms of feasibility studies, that we may face an issues that is not solvable probably at this point in time, but in the future, you may KIV it, but in the future, there may be a more practical solution, because some solution may be just too expensive, and then your company do not have the funding for it at this point in time. Some solution may be detrimental to the environmental portion of the work, or it may have created a lot of media and also hoo-has, the media and also public hoo-has on it, and it is not the right time to do it. So feasibility studies cover a wider range. It definitely will include technical studies. Technically, you need to know whether it's feasible, especially the ground condition, the water table, the type of foundation that you'll be using, and what about if it's river quality, river flow, hydrological river status, and what about the water quality of the river, the location of the potential project site on the river, and whether it's actually nearer to the river mouth, whether it's actually nearer to the mountain, or whether it's actually within the smaller streams. All these has an impact, the technical impact. You may want to do a project at a certain location, but around 2 to 3 kilometers around the river, you just cannot find the right location to do the particular facility. It is completely common. And you may find it technically at this point in time, we don't have a design, or we don't have something that can actually build, in this particular section of the river where the hydrological, for example, the current, the flow of the river, the erosion of the river and all that, or the depth of the river could be too low or even not enough, or it may be a bit too much for you to do construction here. And we don't have the solution for it at this point in time. So you may have to KIV the particular idea because of technical reason. And obviously, we as engineers, our job is to solve technical problem. Yes, we will try to solve technical problem, but like I said, technology is improving all the time. So what can be done today does not mean that it can be done next year or the year after, or in 5 or 10 years time. So yes, certain ideas is limited by technical parameters, but not all the time. And most of the time, technical parameters like pit soil, we need to find solution. But of course, it's not all the time that we can find a solution. We may need to deroute, you see. We may need to change route, we may need to change location because of technical reason. And that will actually delay the evaluation of the project as well. Okay, so feasibility study is not only that one document on cost and benefit, it's actually first technical, very, very importantly, technical studies, and then we'll be looking at also the environmental study, the community studies, the social language community. Okay, we may even look at political impact and politically driven project, whether it is part of the feasibility studies. Maybe it is not feasible because of the politically, the tension or stress behind the project, you see. Or we could be dealing with a very, very important ecological systems that we cannot allow certain point in time without a better solution for it.